This is the video to construct the rear door access door parcel box. So I just wanted to quickly go through the inventory first so you can see what is there, and also how to arrange and set it up so it's easy to assemble. You'll see at the bottom here I've got a side panel. In the middle I've got the back frame and the other side panel. Above that I've got two front and back, a panel for front and a panel for the back. You'll see the door I've taken out of the back frame, and the top frame there I've taken out the parcel flap and letter flaps. And finally in the corner there we've got the base and the top. So just take note of what those look like. Now separately I have arranged the parcel flap, letter flap and the internal flaps on a separate area, because I'll assemble those as we go. You will notice I've got a screwdriver, pliers out ready for that, and a electric drill for my other assembly. So take note of these things and we'll get started. Now to kick off, I have got the right hand side panel, and you can see the notch at the top there, just keeping that at that end so that it's easy to assemble the next piece. And that is this frame. Keep the wide end at the top, the thin end at the bottom, and simply slide that in to the groove in the panel. Now what we're going to do is drill. Okay, to start off, you'll see that I've just positioned my tool bag next to the side panel so I can stand it up on its end. Next I take the frame and I just simply slide that into the groove, making sure that the thin end is at the bottom and the wider top is fitting into the groove on the frame. Now we'll do the same with the other side. There's no drilling required on this piece. So I'll just do that with one hand and push that into place. And essentially that is now ready for the panel. Okay, so as we mentioned earlier, we have two panels. These panels, one's a bit smaller than the other, and the smaller one is the one that we want for the back side of the box. So what I do is I just slide that into position like that. You'll note that there's a little bit of a gap at the top, but it should go flush to the frame in there and both sides. Now what we will do next is, you'll notice that there are screw holes along these grooves in each side and at the base. So we now just take our screwdriver and our self-tapping screws and connect that. Now what you'll notice is that sometimes the screws and the screw holes in particular are a little bit hard to find. So you'll see here I've just got a torch that I'm shining on the screw hole just to make it a little bit easier to see the screws going in. Okay, so once that's done, the box will now hold itself on the two sides and the frame. You might notice that I'm actually doing this on carpet, and that's just to protect the paintwork and make sure that I don't scratch it up too much in the process. What we're now going to do is we're going to flip the box over and assemble the other frame and panel. Okay, so now you can see that I've actually inserted the top panel into the grooves in a similar way that we inserted the back panel. Again, there's no screws when you're doing that. The solid panel, I just slide into position like this. Well, by the way, you might notice that the frame just hangs down. That's not going to be an issue at this point. We'll correct that when we put the base on. Okay, with the bottom panel in place, we're now going to insert screws into the 2 screws into each side to connect all of the frame and panels together. Okay, so with that done, now what we need to do is to get the base and connect that to here. Now, at this stage, there won't be any screws applied. Make sure that the end with the flap matches the front panel. It will be screwed into these holes. The other sides, you'll notice, have a connector, and that will lock into place with some small pieces of metal that are sticking out on each of the sides. So just be careful that when you do this, you've got the side without the flap towards the front and the flap side towards the back. That way you won't have to pull this out and put it back in again. Okay, so I've almost got it in place. I've lined up the metal of the base in between the flaps on the side, and I've got the wide flap at the bottom, and now it's just a matter of clicking it into place on both sides, and we're done. On occasion, you might find that the holes where you're screwing the various panels may not line up exactly. Make sure you've got the panel in the right way round, that's the first thing. But if necessary, you might choose to use a drill that you can put an additional hole in, just to make sure that you get the line up.